All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Limelight Podcast. I am joined by somebody I am super excited to talk to. That is the drumming legend himself, Mr. Dale Crover.
Hello.
Hello, Dale.
Thanks for having me.
Calling all the way from Los Angeles, California. How is
That's right.
how's the family and everybody doing with as we're getting out of COVID slowly but surely?
Yeah, I guess as good as can be expected. Uh, it's a little weird. I have kids, and they're doing the online school thing,
Yeah.
and they probably like it, but at the same time, it's kind of annoying. Just some of the classes are hard to get on for them, and stuff like that. It's flawed,
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a new thing.
In
But
the, in the beginning, I bet, like, as a kid in school, it kind of just seemed like a divine intervention. It's like the longest snow day you could possibly have, and then as it gets longer, it's like, okay, I kind of miss like seeing a living, breathing human being once in a while.
there's that. But then just yesterday, I was telling my daughter, like, I bet you probably won't be going back to school for the rest of the year. And I heard her kind of go, yes. So, I mean, yeah, I would have been just fine with it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me too. So one thing I want to talk to you about is obviously congratulations on the sophomore solo release for you, Rat-A-Tat-Tat.
Yeah,
So that was
you.
on January 15th. And also, secondly, we already talked about it a little bit before, but congrats on the World Series victory.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Finally, the Dodgers win. The one good thing about 2020, though, I was saying that my friends up north are of course, saying, "Well, yeah, it's going to be an asterisk by their title." It's like, no.
If anything,
I don't care.
I feel like if you win it during this time, it's more of a testament to, because like everything's on an equal playing field. So that's like with the NBA, and the World Series is in a bubble too. You're out of a home field environment. If anything, I think it's a more legitimate World Series.
Yeah, that's right. They did. They played at Dodger Stadium Southwest.
Yeah, yeah,
as I call it now. But yeah, I mean, you could tell those guys were all serious about it, and it was probably a really hard thing. And then the fact that it got done.
Yeah,
the series itself, because COVID was all of a sudden invading the teams. So I think if they hadn't won that last game, they might have even canceled the next one, because Justin Turner, third baseman for the Dodgers, contacted COVID during the game.
That was a shame. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, but then I mean, they never said anything like that. I mean, he didn't even seem like he had symptoms or anything like that. I didn't hear of any of the other teammates having it.
Yeah, baseball's really
maybe they just kept it quiet.
They're really lucky, I feel like, that they won that game, like you said, because if he would have been out there and they did the contract tracing stuff, like there was no way they could have been able to pull off a game that quickly after that.
No, it would have been postponed.
Just for optics alone, I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, baseball had to go through it. Obviously, you've had to go through it now. I don't think anybody planned on being in a situation like this for this long.
No, definitely not. I didn't think it would be this long.
So, obviously,
it's been almost a year now.
Yeah, I can't believe we're going to be at 10 months, almost 11 months, and then right before we know it's going to be March, and it's going to be a year.
Yeah. Last time we played a show was in, almost towards the end of February.
Jesus, that's so weird.
Yeah.
So I bet you're itching to go back out and play as soon as possible.
It'd be nice, I mean, I'm out of work like everybody else, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much. So, I mean, you're in a very different circumstance than most people, because you released an album during COVID. So, obviously, you've released quite a bit. What was the biggest parallels between this and the opposites, and what you've worked through?
Well, I mean, I didn't plan on. I would have held on to this and waited to release it, but the label was they didn't want to sit on it for that long. This was done. This record was done pretty much before COVID, except for I didn't have it mastered. But my year would have been pretty busy.
Yeah, I bet.
I was hoping for it to be anyway. Red Cross was going to do a bunch of stuff. We were going to go to Europe, do a tour there, and then come back to U.S. and do a tour. And then this record was going to come out the Rat-A-Tat-Tat record was going to come out in the summer, I think, probably late summer, and then we were going to try to do some kind of tour in the fall.
Gotcha.
So, well, that all obviously went down the tubes, and kind of sat around for a while, and but then did a bunch of recording with Melvins. Well, after a while, we all got together and decided that we should do something. So we've been working in the studio. There's stuff coming, but in the meantime, there's this record that just came out. It's doing okay. I'm on the charts.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I know it really, talking to the label, it's like we're all excited, but at the same time, we're like, well, we know it doesn't really mean much anymore.
I mean, it does.
It's fine, but it's not like I sold, like it didn't ship a couple million,
yeah,
or anything like that. And I just missed the top 100 on Billboard. I'm at 101.
Them bastards.
But whatever. But it's mostly just a big brag.
Hey,
it looks cool on paper.
So that's good because obviously the Melvins are are your bread and butter. So that's good. At least you were able to find time to get back in the studio and work on some stuff with them too. Yeah.
And then also there's the Melvins TV thing that we've been working on.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard about that. What is that?
Yeah, we had the first episode came out on New Year's Eve, and it's different from other live streams. It's us playing 5 songs for $5, Fugazi prices.
Hey.
And then there's interviews and other goofy stuff. It's kind of like Music Laden meets the Monkees.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so we're hoping to do multiple episodes, at least for now, since we can't do any kind of touring.
Yeah.
There's a new one coming out on February 15th or 14th, Valentine's Day. And that one, and there's also opening bands.
Oh, okay.
So the Volume 2 coming up is going to have my band opening.
Hey, look at you! You're doing double the work.
Yeah, of course, I know. So we always try to keep it in the family, even when we're touring. It's mostly bands we pick are like good friends or the last tour that we did, last big tour that we did was Melvins, Red Cross, and Toshi Kasai. So it's like, and Toshi's our engineer.
That's great that you're able to give them a platform too, give them a chance.
It's just easy.
It's just
easy.
Hey, at least you're honest about it.
Well, with Red Cross, both Steve McDonald and I play in the band. So
yeah, that too.
We play with Melvins. So.
Yep.
All we have to do is bring 2 extra guys for that.
Yeah, that does make the logistics a little bit more bearable, I guess.
Yeah. It just makes sense.
So, is there anything that you kind of were in terms of the creative process? Don't worry, my dog's about to do probably the same thing. I've had to sequester her into the house so she doesn't bark and go crazy because anything that passes by, she goes crazy.
He thinks he wants to go outside, but once he goes out there, he's going to look and go, "Let me back in."
Well, tell him to come here because
it looks nice, but he's going to.
It's like 25 degrees here, so I bet you it's a lot worse.
Oh, it's the cold 50s, I think, here.
Oh, cold 50s! I would do anything for that right now.
Yeah, I know. I always feel bad telling people what the weather's like here because I know it's much worse on things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Got to wear a coat going golfing.
Oh, what a pity! I pity you.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. So pretty much what I want to ask is, you've been doing this a very long time. Obviously, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, and I bet you understand that pretty well at this point. When you're writing a solo album as opposed to working with something like the Melvins, and you kind of have that creative autonomy to go where you want specifically, between the first record and this record, is there any kind of specific message you were trying to get or any specific philosophy in the songwriting, or were you just kind of letting it ride and just whatever came?
Yeah, that exactly. If I play something and I keep playing it and like it, then I'll turn it into something. Even if it's something like, okay, 1 second, I'm gonna let this guy out.
All good.
Even if it's something like Shark Like Overbite, which is about a dog.
Oh, that's actually one of my favorite songs from that record too. So that's kind of funny you brought that up.
Right on. So there he goes outside. Okay, you gonna want to stay outside? Okay.
We'll see.
He'll be on back in just a second.
It's all good.
But that one it was just like, kind of a jangly, wimpy sounding. I don't know, like just poppy, almost like the Replacements or something.
Gotcha.
But I kept playing it and liked it enough, and I'm like, okay.
Hey, if you like it enough, that's usually a good indicator that it might be an okay song to put on the record. So.
Right. There's even a couple of the songs where I couldn't tell you how long I had parts of it. There's one that I know for sure I've had since probably early '90s. That finally made it to something. I don't know why. I just thought it would it finally found a place.
Yeah.
Or I finally came back to it. There's lots of stuff like that where it's like, even still, I know I have a back catalog of riffs I put on tape or whatever that if I go back and find something, I'll go, oh yeah, I like that, and I can turn it into something. I think most songwriters do that kind of thing.
I was gonna say, I think that's the trial and tribulation of most musicians that have any type of recording software. Is it's just a backlog of stuff that they've never gotten to that sounds okay, but it needs a little bit of work. But
right. Sometimes I'll just be playing guitar and stumble on something, and I'm like, oh, I got to go in 5 minutes. I'm going to just record this thing really quick, and then...
Voice memos are the greatest thing that was ever invented next to GPS and Uber.
Yeah, is what? Say it again?
Next to GPS and Uber, voice memos are like the greatest thing ever invented.
Oh, yeah. I know. Yeah, because I could be anywhere and record something.
Yeah, so
that's...
When you're songwriting, does music usually come to you as in the forms of percussion, or does it usually come to you first through like a guitar?
Well, depending on what kind of song.
Okay.
I mean, the guitar songs, yeah. Like the weird drum pieces, the drum things that we did that are on the record, I pretty much came up with in the studio, and just would come up with something that I liked and recorded it right there.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah,
force myself to do something, and then also having Toshi there because what we'll do with those pieces is I'm like, we'll mess around with he's got this giant rack of stomp boxes and effects, all ready to go, all ready to be wired in.
It's a playground.
So, yeah, exactly. And all kinds of stuff, like hundreds of different boxes and synths and things like that he can patch in. And damn dog, get out!
You weren't kidding.
Yeah. Now he's barking at something or somebody. Come on, shut up.
So, like you said,
with those, what I was saying is, with those, we'll just mess around until we get something that we like. That sounds cool. Okay, let me come up with something, and I'll do it and record it right there on the spot.
I think it's super refreshing to hear that from like a person like yourself that's been in the industry for such a long time, because now the perspective I have is that there's a lot of people that want to get in the music industry and they're intimidated by it when you see like these super shredders on YouTube that sit behind a computer all day. And they're just practicing with a metronome. And they're just going wild, and that's a very intimidating thing if you're trying to learn an instrument.
Right? Yeah. Right, because they're just showing off. Yeah. And there's lots of drum clips like that where it's wow, you're a really good, amazing drummer, can do all these tricks.
Yeah.
But
really to hear a person like yourself to say that you just go with what works, and it's not really about the theory, and it's not about really with a certain idea going into it, you just go with the vibe. Like that's still such a very old school thing, and I think it's almost becoming taboo.
I'm not some shredder on guitar, I'm not even really a shredder on drums, but I can, it's attitude.
It is
definitely attitude.
Yeah. And like for a person like me too, I don't know if you're the same way. Like that really doesn't click it for me. Like I don't really watch that, and like it's impressive, but it's like at the end of the day, what really is the payoff of that?
Right.
Because you want to be listenable.
Yeah, I mean, I still like watching that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah, it's like because I'll never get there. But
yeah, I mean, with drum stuff, I watch a lot of people doing stuff, and just try to learn something. I still feel like I can learn a thing or two. So, or even whatever guitar stuff, even learning songs. If I want to learn some cover song or whatever, I'll just look on. If I can't figure it out myself, I'll look on YouTube to see how they do it. Yeah. And then I'll realize, okay, they're doing this right and this right, but that part's wrong, and I got what they're doing. Yeah. I know how to do it right.
Yeah, because the ultimate guitar doesn't pay the bill sometimes. So, pretty much where I want to go next and kind of segue into it is just kind of the things I found fascinating about you and reading up on you is that I really got introduced to who you were and who the Melvins were from my fandom of Tool and Adam Jones.
Oh, right on.
And I kind of went down that rabbit hole because I saw that he would always kind of plug you guys and showed the inspiration for his stuff comes a lot from the Melvins.
Yeah.
Have you ever been able to work with him at all in any?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's even toured with the Melvins playing second guitar.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah, and that was a while ago, and that was just like a short tour, but that was really fun.
Yeah.
And well, we've known Adam for a long time now. We toured with Tool. I think the first time we toured with them was on Ozfest, or at least it was at least one of the first times.
Yeah.
And that would have been back in 1998.
Okay.
We talked before about the possibility of playing music, doing something, but just hasn't happened. but fine. But then he's, I know he's done recordings with us, and he did a bunch of stuff on some of that Jello Biafra Melvin stuff that we did. And that was really cool.
How did you become affiliated with him?
I think they asked us to tour with him.
And it just kind of sprung from there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think we played it. I know we played a show with them. I can't remember. Like the first time we played a show with them was at the Palladium here in Los Angeles. And we were both opening for somebody, and I can't remember who the hell it is. It might have been Guar, but that doesn't sound right to me for some reason. And they had just been signed, and I don't think even had their first video out yet. And Adam claims that I had snubbed him. And I'm like, what? Really? You think, like back then he claims that I was like, he said hi to me, and I just didn't say anything. I'm like, well, it doesn't really sound like me. Maybe I didn't hear you. I don't have the best hearing even back then. But,
yeah.
But I was surprised that he said that. It's like, no, I'm usually nice to everybody. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I just found that very interesting. And then obviously when I had the opportunity to talk to you, I was like, oh, that's really funny and serendipitous because I was just kind of getting in that rabbit hole stuff.
Right, yeah.
So that was right before the pandemic is really where I started to pin the connection together. But
right on, yeah.
Nevertheless,
those guys I think were touring when that happened.
They were. I saw them when they came to Atlantic City because I'm in New Jersey. So,
okay.
So right before the pandemic hit, I was able to at least catch them. And unfortunately, not soon thereafter is when pretty much the whole industry came to a halting screech. Yeah.
They took too long making that damn record.
Yeah, they were waiting for it. That's why.
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah.
So when you get back on the road, what are some places that you're really looking forward to going to? Now that you kind of can appreciate them a little bit better, now that you haven't been there in a while.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been saying my biggest concern is what's going to be open when this is done. We've got there's a ton of places around the U.S. that we've had a long-standing working relationship with, where we've played there multiple times, and I'm worried that they're going to be able to survive this.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I'm trying to think what's in New Jersey.
Nothing really in New Jersey, but Philadelphia is that's more.
Yeah, sorry, Philly.
Yeah, I'm more closer to Philly. Yeah, the Stone Pony's more North Jersey, definitely one of the meccas. But
sorry, you mentioned Jersey, but I forgot you said Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's usually what people think of immediately. It goes to Stone Pony or the Starland Ballroom, but definitely. Have you ever had the chance to play at the Trocadero? in Philadelphia?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my stepfather got to play there years ago, but that was a really cool venue. But apparently that unfortunately had to close because of
Oh
this.
wow.
So they closed.
That was who would have been running the Trocadero now?
I don't.
That's the big venue, right?
Yeah, it's bigger.
It had that upstairs venue as well.
It used to be like an old ice house, from what I understand, but it had like the very like 1920s grand stage. So, but it had the upstairs as well. It was all standing room only, and
right. What was that called? Above the Troc or something like that?
I think I forget. It's been so long since I've actually caught a show there, but.
Right.
There was a specific name to it. You're right. And then obviously we have the Trocadero, the Electric Factory, First Unitarian Church, stuff like that.
Yeah, played there. Lately we've been playing Underground Arts.
Yep, you know? That's another.
They've always been super nice, and I always seem to have really great shows there.
Yeah, a lot of people speak highly about that venue from playing.
Yeah. The Trocadero. I remember it wasn't the nicest neighborhood.
Yeah, it can be a little rough sometimes.
Well, I mean, we were warned, and we were playing there one time. I'm trying to think if we were headlining. I know it seemed like we might have been opening for somebody, though. I can't remember. But anyway, we all brought our bags in, except for, at the time, one of our tech guys and our bass player. And sure enough, the window got smashed out of our vehicle, and their stuff got stolen.
Oh.
You know. But,
sounds about right, though.
Our tech guy found all of his clothes except for one T-shirt that he brought for me. And our bass player basically had to go, the next day, go to Target and buy everything. So.
Yeah, that's really the last thing you want to do on the road is going out and buying shit for no reason.
Yeah.
But,
live and learn.
Yeah, I guess. When was that? Was that like back in the 90s?
Oh, that was a long time ago, yeah. Yeah. Years and years ago. It might be different by now, but that was easily, I guess I'm talking about the mid-90s, late 90s maybe, I don't know.
I mean, like when I see dates like that, I don't think that that's old yet, though.
Yeah, I know, but it really is.
It really is. I mean, it
seems like yesterday.
It really does. I mean, it's insane how, especially right now, I mean, I feel like I can't believe a year has passed.
Yeah, right, I know.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah. I mean, in a way, it actually seems like it's been slower because
kind of
I haven't been, as busy, or at least gone touring. It's like when you're touring, you just get in this frame of mind. It's like almost like a time warp or something.
Yeah. When were you planning on going out on the road? Where you weren't on the road for anything other than you were just preparing for that tour that was supposed to come up in the fall?
No, we were going to do. I would have been in Europe in April of last year.
You just missed it then.
And then, yeah, like we were ready to go, and then pretty much got canceled at the last minute. And then summer would have been mostly U.S. probably, and then it would have been. We do, I would say, probably normally about 3 months on the road every year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's a pretty good chunk of change right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anywhere specifically in Europe that like you look forward to most going to? Probably everywhere.
No, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, I like going to Italy because their food is awesome and they got the best coffee. But everything is not their organization skills are sometimes lacking.
Okay, gotcha. I mean,
I don't.
Between the
it's like last time I was in Europe, it's like there's like in France.
Yeah.
There's the government's basically regulating how loud you can play. And it just sucks.
Really?
Every place there's a volume limit, and you can't play loud anymore.
That's not good for you.
People aren't trusted enough with their ears to wear earplugs.
Really?
We played a gig in Scandinavia, where they made us play so quietly that you could hear people at the back of the hall at the bar talking.
Wow.
I'm afraid that stuff happening here. You know?
I hope not. That's like that. Just why even do the show at that point? Just put on
Well, that's what happens when you let the government get involved in arts.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. I don't want them involved in any of my shit.
Yeah.
Any of my musical shit. They can stay out of it. Please.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do my thing. You try to just take care of our shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that was even a thing going on.
All over Europe, pretty much, you know, except for maybe the UK.
Wow.
You know, but it'll start, and probably start here too.
I wonder what real, like, I understand like noise ordinances and like at a certain time it has to get cut off, I guess, but like what is like, how do you like argue that to get that to the point where it's actually enacted as law? Like that's insane to me.
Right. Why can't you just hand out earplugs?
Exactly.
Let people decide for themselves rather than deciding that this is bad for you.
Especially like for music, especially like punk music and hard rock music, it's like you have to project a certain kind of energy to even get that experience, because otherwise that's the difference between just listening to it on Spotify and listening to it on YouTube rather than actually going physically to a show.
Right.
It's that energy that you give, and obviously with the way you play, obviously it's very energetic. So that must be like neutering you.
Oh, well, we can play quiet. I've got no problem playing quiet. I can play quiet as you want, and do it all night long. But it's when you're telling me that I have to do it that I have a problem with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's ridiculous. Wow.
So yeah.
So I mean, if you don't mind, I'd really like to ask you about how you got started in the music industry and from young Dale Crover's perspective and that story. So.
You know, luckily there was a band in my hometown that was trying to do original music and do something different than all the cover bands in my hometown. You know, and by the time I joined the Melvins, they were already playing shows in the metropolis of Olympia, Washington, and Seattle even. So it was like, oh, okay, these guys are going someplace.
So what was it like being involved like in that scene? Because it's obviously a very historic time with all the bands that came out of that area.
Fine. I mean, you know, when I first joined, the shows weren't big. You know, 100 people maybe or whatever. We'd make $50 and be able to fill up the tank. $50 if we were lucky. You know, if it was a good night, we'd have enough money for gas and a 7-Eleven burrito.
That was the payoff right there?
Yeah.
But that, I mean, that's a dream for most people, because there's a lot of people that long for those kind of experiences. And I mean, a lot of people never get to experience something like that. And that's really cool, just hearing like the stories back when you didn't know what the next 20, 30 years were going to look like and how you're still going to be involved with a band that you were getting $50 for a show. Like you said, the payoff was going to 7-Eleven.
Right.
So,
but we were just happy playing shows, you know?
Yeah.
Being able to play shows, I mean, back then that was the goal. It's like, wow, you know, cool.
Yeah, and that's still the goal for a lot of people. I mean, it feel as I get older, obviously I've had to sacrifice the original side of stuff. And for me, my trajectory is I've had to do the cover stuff, and it really does feel like selling your soul at a certain point.
Well, if that was the way, if I didn't have this and that was the way that I could make some money, I would probably do that.
Yeah, that's kind of where a lot of people, including myself, have kind of just decided it's like, it's important enough to keep it in my life, and this is how I can do it, I'll do it.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of cover bands that are, you know, guys in cover bands that are making more money than me.
It's insane.
I never, those Vegas bands are making bucks, or some of the tribute bands.
It's kind of odd though. Like, I don't know if I mean, money's money at the end of the day, but like.
Well, I mean, we played the Reading Festival in the UK.
Okay.
And the ABBA cover band had a better position on the bill than we did.
Stop.
And they made more money too.
That's kind of amazing. I'd actually kind of want to see it then. Just with that kind of notoriety, they must be pretty good.
They liked them better than us too, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh!
This was before the UK really knew much about the Melvins, though. So now we go back and we're kings.
Yeah, I would assume so. So before you got involved with the Melvins, is it true that you were in like an Iron Maiden cover band?
I wish it was that cool.
Oh, okay.
I mean, sort of, but not really. I played in this band when I was 14, 15, before 16, before joining the Melvins, and yeah, it was like high school cover band. We played high school dances and played the hits of the day. You know, Free Bird and Stairway to Heaven.
I mean, that's not too bad. I wish that was the music of the day when I was in high school. That would have been really cool.
It was worse, though. I remember, I think we played The Kid Is Hot Tonight by Loverboy. Oh. And, I mean, even at that point, I was the one, I was younger than the guys in the band, but I was into, like, Maiden and Priest and didn't like any of that stuff. But it was, again, somebody to play with. There wasn't that many people around there to play with. So I had to sell my soul to play covers that I didn't like.
Yep, unfortunately. Yeah, because
it was a learning experience. They hated that I played way too fast. The cover band did. I remember, and I'm sure I probably played. I know I played them way too fast. But once I joined the Melvins, that didn't matter. They
were like, play faster.
Play fast. Now play slower.
Yeah. So that's really interesting because I mean, you just poke around the internet. Obviously, the reason why I asked that because Iron Maiden, I love Iron Maiden, so I was obviously just really interested in that. But so there
was another guy that I played with, and I mean, we were sort of a band. We were like the original two-piece, about way before like the White Stripes.
Before the White Stripes made it cool, you guys did it.
We always wanted a bass player. We were like, we need a bass player, but. He was an older dude I used to play with, and we did play Iron Maiden covers and Black Sabbath, but then also had originals too. That they basically sounded like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden songs. But he's the dude that actually taught Buzz how to do the drop D tuning.
Oh, really?
And we actually had songs that were in that drop D tuning in the sky before Melvins. So and then that's through. That guy, through Buzz, that's how Kim Thale learned the drop D tuning from Soundgarden.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's all originated from Sabbath, but
yeah,
they didn't know that.
But still, that chain of succession of learning drop D tuning, it's still pretty.
Sabbath, the drop D Sabbath tuning, Aberdeen style.
Well, since you brought up Buzz, how is Buzz doing?
He's doing great.
Yeah.
I just saw him yesterday.
Good. That's awesome. It's nice being able to at least check up on people and know that everybody's doing all right during this time. It's just
I mean, we see each other all the time. Good. So even if we're not doing music, we've had a lot of time to work on our golf game.
So where do you usually golf at? I'm a huge golfer myself, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a course not too far from here called Shoal Canyon that we go to a lot. And then yesterday we played at this place that's out in Moore Park, California. That's called Rustic Canyon.
I've heard of
that place. What's that?
I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've never seen anything like it. It's supposedly links style golf, though most links courses are on the water. This isn't.
Oh,
the greens are super long, like you could putt from like 100 yards in some of these places. And they didn't really change the landscape a bunch. They used the layout that was already there for the holes. So they didn't move a bunch of dirt around and create something that wasn't already there.
Yeah.
And I've never seen another course like it. You almost expect some like cowboys to come riding up on you all of a sudden.
Those are the worst courses though, because you get up to the first tee and you can see the entire course right from your perspective, and you think to yourself, since there's no trees, I'm not going to lose any balls today. And then for me, I end up losing everything in my bag. So.
Yeah, I mean, you could. This one in particular, there really isn't a bunch of trees, but yeah, you could easily lose balls. I lost a couple.
I would give anything to have golf weather here right now, so this is also me.
Yeah. Again, sorry to brag.
I'll let it slide. Have you ever had an opportunity to play at like any place like Torrey Pines or Pebble Beach?
Buzz got to play Pebble Beach not too long ago.
Really?
And because of the pandemic, they had. I mean, Normally, I think to play there, it costs a lot of money.
It does.
To stay at this hotel, but that wasn't happening during the pandemic, and he found something special where he could go and play for relatively cheap.
Yeah.
And, I mean, still maybe more expensive than normal, but he's like, I'll never get another chance to do this.
That's a once in a lifetime thing.
Like, he did it twice.
Yeah.
So
that's
really cool. I've played places out in my in-laws live out in Palm Desert, and they've been big golfers for forever, and so that's kind of how I got into it, just through them. And so I've played out there. I've played 3 different Bob Hope Classic courses that are pretty cool, and I just kind of luckily get to play places, otherwise I'm fine with the place I normally go to is a public course, your average person is out there playing.
So how long have you been playing for? No. Around what age did you start?
What's that?
What age did you start playing golf?
40.
Oh, wow. Late bloomer, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was, I don't know why. Well, my dad used to play, so I remember taking lessons as a kid, but at that time I was more into baseball and things like that. So
it really didn't click for you.
I think golf's probably the hardest sport there is.
I agree.
But almost there's people that I play with guys that are in their 70s, and I played with guys that are in their 80s before. So
yeah, I kind of envy those people because they're the ones that now just put it right in the center of the fairway.
They are. I mean, I've played with some ladies that were older ladies that always put it down the middle, and they just were really good. I'm inspired by those kind of people.
Yeah, because that's what golf's about. It's really just trying to remove the bravado of trying to drive a ball 300 yards and punishing it.
Yeah.
And just understanding the finesse of the game and how key that is.
Yeah, it's made me respect my elders.
So, if you're on the road, is that something that you kind of look to do in your downtime?
What's that now, on the road?
Yeah, on the road, do you look in your downtime to play golf at some of the local courses?
There's never enough time.
Ah, that sucks.
Not really. I mean, it's because, it can take a while to play around a golf. There's just not enough time.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think last tour we actually got a little chipping net and a wedge and some plastic balls so we could practice in the club.
Hey, get your fix somehow.
If people only knew, how lame we were.
You should have been videotaping it. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of people learn golf late in life, and it's kind of interesting hearing people's perspectives on how they approach the game in that aspect of not being able to say they learned the fundamentals as a kid and then picking up later and realizing how difficult it really is. It's a good stress reliever.
Really hard. Buzz is really good. I feel like I'm still learning. We golf with a bunch of guys that are. There's a bunch of musician dudes that golf.
Yeah.
It feels like it gets a bad rap for being a elitist game, but it's not really.
At a certain level, it becomes that. Just obviously, if you're playing every week at Pebble Beach or something like that, I can see it.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, we're not country club material.
No. Not many people are.
No. I mean, I've got to play places like that, but I'm much more comfortable, with people of my kind.
It's almost not fun at a place like that because you feel like that you're. It's like when you go to a museum, you feel like you're going to break something and everybody's staring at you. And then you see a person like me walk up to the tee, and then they're just staring at me even harder and saying "Why am I here?" And it just gets in my head.
Well, if you just realize that a lot of those people aren't that really much better than you.
Yeah.
So
I could see the polarities between that and how you approach, how somebody would approach being a musician and being on stage if they have those kind of fears about it.
Right. Yeah.
So I bet you that's why a lot of musicians probably do like to do something like golf.
Well, I mean, for right now, it's at least a good way to get out and get some exercise.
That is so true. I don't know where I'd be without golf during this stuff.
Yeah. I know where I'd be, probably on the road.
Yeah, true.
Actually, no. At this time of the year, we're usually not doing too much. Mostly sticking to home.
Yeah, you purposely make it this time of the year is where you kind of take a break.
Golf. Yeah, but then even then, we don't really take too much of a break. It's not like we take months off or anything like that. In the last few years, what we've been doing right around this time is doing a tour of California.
Oh,
trying to do as many shows as we can do.
Yeah, California's like its own little country, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we'll play a lot of tiny places too.
Yeah,
so, like last year in mid-February, we were doing that, and we did. I mean, we could do quite a few shows. You know, we could do San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Santa Cruz, Sacramento, San Francisco. You could throw in, San Jose or a bunch of others too.
And all those crowds are probably so different in terms of how they react too.
Well, the smaller towns are usually, those are always really good. I mean, Melvin's do good pretty much every place.
Yeah, at this point, I'd say so.
But also we played Bakersfield last time, and we hadn't played there. Bakersfield's kind of a weird one, and we played this brewery.
Oh, that must be so cool.
It was a great show. It was really fun.
Have you ever heard of to bring it back to East Coast stuff, have you ever heard of a place called Neshaminy Creek Brewery in Pennsylvania?
I don't think so.
Because they have like Rancid just played there probably about a year ago. They get some pretty decent bands that come through. I'm surprised I think the Melvins should look into it, or maybe the Dale Crover band should come through.
Sure.
Give me an opportunity to come out instead of flying to the West Coast.
Yeah. We'd love to.
So
someday, hopefully.
So as we're hopefully approaching going to be in a post-COVID environment, do you have any big ideas in terms of maybe how you're going to change your approach, whether or not any grand ideas or any timetable when you think you'll be able to get back out there? Is that still really up in the air for you?
Yeah, I think it's up in the air. It's probably up in the air for everybody.
Yeah.
It would be great if it was by the fall.
Yeah.
I think things will probably start in the fall if everybody gets vaccinated. That's weird. They say it's going to be months and months until we get everybody vaccinated. So hopefully by the fall. I would say realistically by next spring, which seems like a long ways away, and I hope it's really not that far. But I've heard some people say, I know some people are going to wait until then to tour.
Yeah.
There's plans for Red Cross to go to Europe in the fall. That's only because the tour that we had booked for last year hasn't been canceled. It's just been postponed. Gotcha. So working on it for the fall. We'll see what happens, and then, like I said before, I'm worried about the clubs.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then once we can tour, everybody's going to want to tour. So it's going to be
for sure.
But we'll figure out a way. We've got ideas. We're full of ideas.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I've been hearing from a lot of people is they're expecting the fall, and I was hearing that probably even like last summer when I thought that fall 2021 seemed like a really far out idea. That's what a lot of people within the industry have been telling us is it seems like if at best case scenario it would be fall. So
if we're lucky, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Hopefully we can just get through this and everybody kind of plays on the same team for once and we can just work through it.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice.
I think it's getting better, but remains to be seen,
Yeah.
So I don't have anything else for you, Dale. I think
cool,
we've been doing this for about 40-some minutes.
Right on.
It's Thursday morning for you, Thursday afternoon for me. I would just like to say thank you very much for accommodating your schedule to have a conversation with me today.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So we'll be on the lookout for you. Once again, your album just came out on January 15th. It can be found everywhere, right?
Yes. New Melvins record coming out in February called Working with God.
Working with God.
Melvins 1983, where I play bass and the original drummer plays drums.
Hey.
Melvins. I'm not sure when this is gonna air, but what are you doing Valentine's Day? Want to be my date for the Melvins TV show?
I will.
All right.
Well, Dale, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya.